So on YouTube we address each other by the names of our channels. That is why I will be saying Efilist. I have to ask you a very important logical question. And I have to state again, I don't have anything against you. I'm just trying to understand your train of thought and...
Okay, that's the response to do in the morning.
I see a logical inconsistency here. I have to explain, and then I will ask you my question. First, you have said yourself that you have the disability of risk avoidance. But then on the side, you often talk about suffering in the world, especially mentioning children, some that have cancer or suffer in another way.
This is not statistical fact. Advocating for statistical facts.
And you say that there are statistical probabilities that some people will suffer. And yes, we know that. You are telling us nothing new. Statistically, we know that some people suffer because other people cause them harm. But we don't need you for that, because the whole society and the law is dealing with such people.
Yeah, well, apparently we do need to keep telling you that, because that's our argument, right? When you bring a child into the world, there is a statistical probability they're going to suffer great harm. And you're not countering that argument at all. You're admitting that that particular fact we use for our argument is correct. So
then there is natural disasters, and one child having a cancer is also a natural disaster.
there you go. That can happen, right? But it won't happen if you don't bring that child into existence. The only way a child can get cancer is if they are brought into existence. The unfertilized ovum will never get cancer.
Hoping only one child. And scientists through the ages, especially lately, have been trying to deal with that. They discovered vaccines and other medicines for various illnesses.
Yeah, they're trying to. In other words, it's still happening. Why is it still happening? Because people keep bringing new people into the world. Create the problem, try to solve the problem. That's our argument.
We have not discovered the cure for cancer yet.
Exactly. Once you've solved the problem, then we can talk about the subject again. But until you have solved the problem, anti-natalists will continue making the same argument until you have come up with some rational counter-argument, which you're not going to do in this case, which we're going to get to.
About other natural disasters, science is constantly working on finding the best explanations for phenomena so that we can tame them.
Advocating for statistical facts.
I don't know why you repeated that.
This statistical probability of some people suffering, people are trying to take care of that. And when people have a child, it's not that they are sure that something bad will happen to this child. No, they only know that there is statistical probability, but they take calculated risk.
You're a mother.
A calculated risk for somebody else. They're not taking a calculated risk for their own self, they're taking a calculated risk with somebody else's welfare.
Fucking insidious torturer right the fuck now. Not.
So that's what is happening. It is not true that Luddite Returns is torturing children. It's not true that he is killing children. Nothing like that.
Well, yes, he is not physically torturing somebody, but when you advocate to to keep bringing people into the world, then you were arguing for from this point on, if someone gets tortured, you're saying that's fine because it's okay to keep bringing people into the world. I mean, you take everything, you take things literal when it should be figurative, and that's probably some sort of fallacy, but yeah, he's not saying Luddite is actually torturing children, but by advocating for bringing children into the world, the next person that gets tortured, you're arguing that that's okay. We're saying it's not okay. I mean, antinatalism is a solution. You don't like the solution. I mean, that's all I'm getting, is you guys don't like the solution, so you're trying to, as it's going to be shown, you attack the person instead of the argument.
And parents who, I'm telling you, sacrifice their lives and all their time and take normal people, usually parents, take good care of their children and try to minimize the risk for them. But you...
Yeah, they try to minimize. They try. Do they always? No. Unforeseen events happen, like the child getting cancer, the child getting hit by a car. I saw a child get hit by a car one day. I don't know what he was thinking, but he just started bicycling like there's no tomorrow against a red light. And I was like 5 car lengths back, and I was, you know, what do you do? I mean, if you try to do something, that might alter the outcome in the negative. So, I mean, there's nothing you could do. And he got smacked by a minivan, and he went from total joy to total shock and surprise and horror. I mean, I could still see his face. He was flying through the air in a spread eagle. Fortunately, he's I'm sure fine now, but he had a busted shin. For what? I mean, I'm sure he's probably a handicapper right now, but who knows? Maybe that was a severe break. His leg's probably never going to be the same. Of course, he's young, so it'll probably heal nicely, but still. That's just the unforeseen events. You can try to prevent tragedy, but inevitably tragedy happens. But tragedy won't happen if you don't bring people into existence.
Go to the extreme of risk avoidance as regards human life in general. In the future, there will always be cases of people suffering, no matter how much care you take to avoid it.
Again, you're making our argument. How is that arguing in favor of procreation? You're saying it's unavoidable, you're saying.
So the only solution is for there to be no life at all, and then nobody will be suffering. This is an extreme risk avoidance.
Well, you keep using this word extreme. I mean, it's just a simple fact. You don't fertilize the ovum passes without tragedy. That's just a fact. You don't fertilize the ovum, no suffering is going to happen for that potential human. Don't fertilize the ovum. It's a simple argument. I don't know why it's met with such resistance.
I'm telling you, though, that you do not apply the same extreme risk avoidance in your own life.
There you go. The U2 fallacy, like textbook. I put that in a comment. That's textbook U2 fallacy. You're saying you, Efilist, is doing something that's inconsistent with what he's saying, even though I don't think that's correct. But even if you were correct, it's a fallacy. It's the U2 fallacy. You haven't attacked the argument, you're attacking him. I mean, that's why it's called the you too fallacy. You say, well, you're doing it too. You're risking your own life. Therefore, anti-natalism's wrong. I mean, basically, right? That's what you're saying. That's your argument. I mean, so what? So the topic is anti-natalism, not anti-risk avoidance for your own flesh. It's it's avoiding risk for another without good reason. You don't need to fertilize the ovum. That's a fact. You don't need to. That is not a need. Breathing is a need. Drinking is a need. Eating is a need. Procreation is not a need.
Right? As long as possible, and you want to avoid suffering for yourself. And I think another reason that you...
Well, yeah, he wants to avoid suffering for himself, but that's not... that's not really the argument. The argument is you want to prevent suffering in future generations by not having them. I mean, we're here. We're stuck with it. We either, you know, drive on or eat a bullet. And eating a bullet doesn't sound like much fun. Plus, it could all go wrong. I mean, I think it's 9 out of 10 people succeed, but, you know, 1 out of 10, I read about some actor who shot himself in the temple with a .38, and he survived. Didn't tell much details about what's going on with him now, but that can't be good. The congresswoman here in Arizona, I forget her name, but she got hit in the... She got shot right between the... well, right in the middle of her forehead with the 9mm. The bullet passed right between her hemispheres, and she lived. But I'm sure her life is not the same.
What to say alive is that you think that you are a genius and you can lead humanity towards its death. So...
Didn't quite get that, but I don't think Efilist ever claimed he's a genius, especially when this is really simple. I know he said this is a real simple argument, so it doesn't take a genius to come up with this argument. It's real simple.
You think that you have to keep yourself alive so that anything is done at all in the future.
Goddamn mess. You're the ones who made the mess, jackass.
Yes, exactly. I don't know why you played that clip, but he's exactly right. We make the mess, we clean up the mess.
I'm the cleaner. Everybody's just living because they don't want to die.
He's not the only cleaner. He's not saying he's anybody that's arguing against procreation is the cleaner. That's, I mean, I get that is a solution. Stop making messes.
So, you don't want to die. 2 reasons. One is, and nobody wants to die, nobody wants to suffer. And another reason, I think you have stated, is that you think that you are the one who can logically understand what life is and what would save the life of future unborn generations from suffering, and that is what I'm not doing. The whole life to disappear. I think you mean human, because we cannot track down and kill every animal, every living creature on Earth. But you say that humans have intelligence, and but you say that all humans do not use their intelligence and do not understand that when there is life, there is suffering, and when there is no life, there is no suffering. So, you say that you are needed in order to have this salvation of life, that means no life at all, to be achieved. So, these are two...
I don't know what to say to that. Yeah, I mean, there's the anti-natalists are in the minority, so we should stick around to keep making the argument, because that's the only way it's going to get spread, is by making the argument. If we kill ourselves, that's one less person making the argument. That's pretty simple.
Reasons that you say, or you wanted to be alive, but
well, I don't want to speak for Efilist, but I am an Efilist, and I don't want to be alive anymore. I'm ready. If there's a doctor working in clinic, I'd be there getting a consultation right now. At least a consultation. I know I wouldn't be. I couldn't do it right now for the reasons just expressed. Plus, I do have a family. I am a parent. It would be cruel to just bail for my own personal, to get rid of my own suffering. If I killed myself, my family would suffer. That's just the death is not bad for the dead. Death is bad for the living.
I'm telling you that you do not use the same excessive risk avoidance that you want to use for the whole of humanity.
Well, all of humanity. We're making an ethical argument concerning procreation. We're saying it's not ethical to procreate because you're taking a risk for somebody else. And you're continuing the U2 fallacy. You're saying he's doing something different than what he's saying, but you've taken it completely out of context. The context is anti-natalism, not anti-parachuting or whatever risk you can take, right? Like, I'm taking a risk right now driving my truck around, but I need to go get stuff. I just went to Walgreens to get a prescription for my wife because she's got many health problems, and walking's out of the question. I guess I could take a bus. It's still running, but I need my car for work and other things. So since I got it, I'm paying insurance. Blah blah blah. I drive.
Because anytime you go out of the house, statistically you know that various things can happen, do happen to other people. So, but there are people, you are the person living.
Like I was saying in the comments, all fallacies are special cases of non sequitur. It doesn't follow. You're totally off topic. You're not talking about anti-natalism. You're talking about personal risk, which is not. We're talking about risk for somebody else.
The same thing would happen to you. For example, not long ago there was a bear in your vicinity, and you know what bears can do to a human. Still, you took a calculated risk and did not stay at home all the time.
Again, you took a calculated risk for himself. The subject is anti-natalism or Efilism, call it what you want. It's saying that this world isn't sufficiently good enough. As a matter of fact, it's quite bad. It's a planet of misery and death. And you're going to bring a kid into it because why? You know, that's what we're looking for. A good reason to procreate. Haven't heard it yet.
Not going out at all because of this risk. You went on to your work or wherever, or to the...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because we're here. We didn't decide to get here. We were forced onto this planet. Just repeating myself. You're off topic. So all fallacious arguments are a non sequitur. That's what you're doing. You're just going on and on about Efilist's personal risk he's taking, and that's irrelevant. Completely irrelevant.
Swimming pool to swim. This is another thing. When you swim, anything can happen to you and you can drown. For example, you can get a cramp in your leg or in your arm.
Yeah, because again, I just have to keep repeating myself on this one because you're off topic. I mean, maybe you've already figured it out. You were exchanging comments, and you kept coming back. First, you didn't know what it was. You didn't know what the U2 fallacy was. I told you what it was, and then you asked me, where in your video did you use the fallacy? I pointed it out, and I think that's what I'm waiting for a response on that. I showed you where yeah, again in this video I pointed out exactly where you first used the textbook example of the U2 fallacy, and that's all you're doing. That's all. I mean, that's what everybody that's arguing against antinatalism is doing. It seems. I mean.
And you can't swim and you may drown. Or various other things can happen to you while you are in the water and may cause you to lose control and die. Also, anytime you go out, an asteroid may fall down in your vicinity or on top of you. It has happened that the lightning has struck other people when they are out. So, anything may happen.
I guess I'll say, if lightning strikes an unfertilized ovum, who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about an unfertilized ovum. They're getting past. I've made videos. I haven't posted them yet. I said the same thing. Right now, there's an unfertilized ovum being passed, and it's not a tragedy. It's just not a tragedy. The only way you can have a tragedy is if you have a sentient being involved. Then you can have tragedy. An unfertilized ovum is not a sentient being.
When you go out, if you take to the extreme this risk avoidance, you have to stay all the time at home and arrange it in such a way that you don't have to go out at all.
Like I just said, I mean, you can't. You either get living or eat a bullet. That's what we've been forced into. The antinatalist, I would have no problem flipping the switch on Dr. Kevorkian's Mercitron if it wasn't for the fact that people would actually mourn my passing, believe it or not, right? I mean, you shouldn't. You should be happy, right? I'm gone. My work's over, but I will be missed by at least 2 people. Yeah, that's the only thing that would stop me from flipping the switch. Now, if I was in extreme pain, or if I had Alzheimer's, like Dr. Kevorkian's first patient, yeah, but then I'd hope my family would understand. I don't want to look in the mirror and not know who I'm looking at. That would be, well, it wouldn't be the worst. I mean, but mentally, that's got to be the worst mental suffering imaginable. And my grandfather, in fact, did have Alzheimer's, so it's possible that I could get that.
Declare yourself not able to live a normal life, and you should take extreme precautions in order to save your life. Of course, there is also the question that you know that you are alive and something may happen to you, and also you're sure that you will die. So, somebody...
See, these are all arguments that the antinatalists will make concerning procreation. All these things that you say can happen to us that are alive can only happen to us Because we were brought into existence. If the unfertilized ovum that became me did not get fertilized, I wouldn't be here. And I would not care because I would not be here. The unfertilized ovum cannot care less about what you want, what you desire, or anything else. Just the way it is. That's a fact. Anyhow, guess we'll try to finish this on the trip home. This is going to be kind of long, but I'll probably edit it. And my camera fell down. Okay, let's see if we can finish this off without knocking the camera over. Not that I'm not even sure if you could tell a difference with this lighting, but whatever.
You may say that, well, then you can kill yourself. But the reasons that I already mentioned that you want to stay alive, not kill yourself, one of them is that you see yourself as the savior of humanity, saving humanity by extinguishing. Then nobody will suffer. So my question is, why don't you take this extreme measure that you offer for the whole of humanity for yourself? Bye.
Yeah, I was going to say that
the LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recording.
Blah blah. Questions are not really, don't really fall in the category of logical or illogical. Either you are lacking information, so you ask a question wanting an answer, or if you already have the information, you shouldn't be asking the question. So I don't know why you call it a logical question, and in fact the whole thing was not. The question has to do with what you were saying all along. You know, you stated that Efilist basically doesn't practice what he preaches, which I don't think you made that case, because he's not preaching don't take risks, period. He's saying don't take risks with somebody else's welfare, especially when you don't need to. So anyhow, I guess that's all. Well, I did notice I was going to do a response to Great Text. I saw you did it. You made a comment there saying the worst thing is simplistic thinking, and I guess what does that mean? I guess I don't know. Well, simplistic means exaggerated simplicity, which you haven't made the case. We're stating outright it's a simple argument. Is it an exaggerated simplicity? No, it's a fact that if you stop bringing people into the world, the net total amount of suffering will be reduced, because eventually there will be no more suffering. Then you went on to say, you said the religious do the same. Both the religious and the anti-natalist, what did you say, are oblivious to the enormous richness and complexity of life. A fairly inaccurate statement. Oh yeah, something about desires in there. Well, yeah, you said there are desirable things in life, or something like that. And well, yeah, that's what we're saying. It's all about desire. You're brought into this world and you have desires. My misery in me, who I guess is now not an anti-natalist, said once, life is about wanting what you can't have, which is pretty spot on. I want to fly, but I don't have wings. That's a fact. Yeah, I can hop into an engineered machine that'll let me fly, but I can't just take off and fly like the birds. I want to fly like an eagle, but I can't. There you go. Desire unfulfilled. Yeah, I'll probably do a response to Great Text. Although, Inmendham, Efilist, just say no to kids. I'm in the middle of watching his response. I already watched Great Text's video. It's the same shit all over again. He said there's a million. I remember he said there's a million ways to why the anti-natalist argument is invalid, but he fails to provide one. He's basically doing the same thing you're doing. Straw man, ad hom, non sequitur. That's all you guys do. You get off topic. You ignore the topic and talk about something completely irrelevant. So, I hope this worked out okay. We shall see. And here we are.